Are you dealing with fear and anxiety? I know I am, but guess what? We're not alone. Every study, every survey, everything that's going out says that fear and anxiety are skyrocketing among almost every demographic from 5-year-olds to 85-year-olds. We're not alone in this, and that's before we faced a global pandemic. Fear and anxiety are on the rise, and we're kind of all in this together if you're dealing with it. Again, I know it's a thing for me too. But we're not alone. But here's the thing. Have you ever noticed that sometimes when people try to encourage you or cheer you up or say positive words that it doesn't work? That you hear these words and sometimes it makes you feel more fearful and more anxious because you go, why am I not feeling better about this? This person said the right thing. This person said this and they even quoted scripture. Why am I not feeling better? And you can even see I'm doing the anxious bounce, right? Why do I not feel better about this? Well, I can understand why that is because so often these words of encouragement fall short because they miss one simple thing. So often these words of encouragement fall short because they're missing something that's critical to actually helping our fear and anxiety. I'm going to tell you a story and talk about what that one simple thing is, so hang with me. So I want to tell you the story of Joshua. And so Joshua leads the nation of Israel after Moses. Now, many of you have heard of Moses because every Easter, he's on the Ten Commandments, right? Charlton Heston is standing in front of the Pharaoh. He says, "Let my people go," with his staff, right? So Moses was the leader of the nation of Israel. They were slaves. He confronts the Pharaoh. He brings the plagues. The Pharaoh finally releases them and they cross the sea, and the sea parts the sea. There you go, the parting of the Red Sea. And it goes up and they walk through. It's this amazing, miraculous story, and they lead Israel out of slavery. And God promises a promised land. God says, I'm going to lead you into the promised land. And Moses is in charge of doing that. But here's the problem. They get to the desert and they forget all these miraculous things God does. And they start worshiping other gods, which kind of sounds crazy, but I identify with it. I get it. And so Moses is the leader of Israel at this time. They wander the desert for 40 years. And God tells Moses, hey, you're not going to see this promised land. So for 40 years, between slavery and the promised land, they're wandering the desert. Moses, finally, you fast forward to the end of his life, they're on the cusp of the promised land. They're just right there. The promised land's just on the other side of this river. They're just on the other side of everything God promised them. And Moses is at the end of his life and he dies. And Moses hands the leadership of Israel over to Joshua. Now, Joshua was his aide, and Joshua hung with Moses. Moses was like a spiritual father to Joshua. And so they were very close. And so no doubt in this time, Joshua, even though I'm sure he happily accepted the role of leader of the nation of Israel and might have been excited about the promotion, he just lost probably his best friend. He just lost someone who was like a spiritual father. He just lost someone that he cared for. And then, but also when he looks at the future, he's looking at this unknown future, but he's looking at the promised land. So there's probably some confusing feelings, and it might have felt a little hectic and chaotic. So here's the situation Joshua's in. When he looks to the past, there's some pain. There's slavery, there's wandering in the desert, and he just lost his best friend. He just lost his spiritual mentor, somebody who invested in his life and somebody who had significant experiences with. And now he's standing in this chaotic middle and he's in charge of it. But then he looks forward to the future and it's unknown. Yes, God promised them this land, but it's on the other side of the river. They haven't taken it yet. They don't know what's there. They have no idea what's coming in the future. So you've got pain in the past. You've got a chaotic present, a crazy present, and an unknown future. Does that sound familiar? Some of us are in that spot right now. You got pain in the past. You don't know what's going on right now and it's difficult. And you look toward the future and it's unknown. You don't know what's coming next. And all of us in the middle of this pandemic, we're facing that as well. You don't know if you're going to have a job in the future. And if you don't have a job now, you don't know what the future is going to look like. You don't know what's going to happen if you have a sick person in your family, a sick loved one, and you don't know what's going to happen and you're afraid for them. You don't know what the future holds. And now everything changes every day. There's so many things happening that we don't know what's happening now. We have the chaotic present, and that doesn't relieve the painful past at all. So Joshua's set to take over. This is the situation. And here's what God says to Joshua. In Joshua 1, he says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not fear or be dismayed. Do not fear or doubt, depending on your translation. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." Now, I want to tell you why these words are different than other words of encouragement. Okay? First of all, he says, have I not commanded you? Throughout the beginning of this book, God talks to Joshua multiple times and 4 times says, be strong and courageous. 4 times. If God repeats something, he means it. If God repeats something, it's important. And he says, be strong and courageous, be strong and courageous, be strong and courageous. Why do you think he says it so many times? Because Joshua was struggling with fear and doubt. His strength and his courage were in jeopardy. He didn't have those things. He needed those things. So God is trying to give him those things. He says, do not fear or be dismayed. Do not fear or doubt. Have you ever had somebody that says, hey, stop being anxious. Stop being afraid. Does that make you feel any better? It doesn't make me feel any better. In fact, it creates more anxiety in me. Hey, just stop being anxious. Oh, cool. I wish I'd thought of that. Stop being anxious, right? Don't fear, don't doubt, right? That can sometimes create more anxiety when we can't actually do that. But here's the key. This is the one simple thing that makes this actually encouraging, that makes this actually able to calm us and take us to a better place when we're facing fear and anxiety. It's the last part of this. For, that's because. For, all of this, right? Be strong and courageous. Do not fear and be dismayed. Why? For, because the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. If you believe in Jesus, that's a promise for you today. And that's why we don't need to be afraid or anxious. That's why we can deal with our anxiety, because the Lord, our God, is with us wherever we go. That's a promise. That's a fact. That one fact can change fear and anxiety for you. So if you're dealing with fear and anxiety, I want you to hold on to that fact, because you can be strong, you can be courageous, you don't have to fear, you don't have to be dismayed, because the Lord, your God, is with you wherever you go. When you look back into the painful past, he's with you. When you deal with the chaotic present, he's with you. When you look to the unknown future, he's with you. It doesn't matter. And for some of you guys who go, well, God can't be with me. You can't send God away. You might not feel his presence right now. Because sometimes we get so focused on something. Man, I know this happens in my house all the time. I get so focused on something, I lose track of who's around me and who's in the house, and they sneak up on me. It's like, sorry. I was really focused on this thing. We get so focused on our difficulty. We get so focused on our painful past. We get so focused on the chaotic now. We get so focused on the unknown future that we forget who's with us. God didn't go anywhere. He is with you wherever you go. And if you don't believe in Jesus yet, all you need to do is believe in Jesus. You just pray a simple prayer. Lord, I believe in you. I trust what you say. I put my faith in you. And then you have a peace of God with you all the time. It stays with you all the time. And that is why we can deal with our fear and anxiety. Here's the thing. God doesn't take away Joshua's painful past. He doesn't take away all the problems of the present. He doesn't tell Joshua what's going to happen in the future. He doesn't say, hey, everything's going to be gravy. It's going to be gravy train, land of milk and honey. Everything's going to be easy. No, there are battles. There are struggles in the future, but God is with you. There's chaos and there's difficulty now, but God is with you. There's pain and there's difficulty in your past, but God is with you. So when we are dealing with our fear and anxiety, the simple thing, the thing that people forget with encouraging words, and the things that people forget with trying to make you feel better and make you feel happy, is they forget the why. Why can you be encouraged? Why can you be happy? Why can you be strong? Why can you be courageous? Why can you be courageous? Why don't you have to fear? Why don't you have to doubt and be dismayed? Because the Lord, your God, is with you wherever you go. In my last minute or so here, I want to tell you, a lot of times we think of God with us like this big presence looking over us. This big presence that's around everywhere but kind of standing above us. But he says, the Lord, your God. He's making it very, very personal to Joshua. I am your God, and I am with you. Not just big over you, I'm with you. My presence is with you. And I want to tell you, God is with you. Wherever you are, God is with you. If you believe in Jesus, God is with you. You might be going through the most difficult time of your life right now. God is with you. I can't promise he's going to take it away. Lord, I wish he would. I can't promise he can take away the pain of your past. It's not usually how he works. He can't level up the present right away. He can't just snap his fingers and make it all go away. He can, but it's probably not going to happen. And he's not going to reveal to you everything that's going to happen in the future so that you feel better. You're going to struggle. There's going to be difficulty. That's why he says, be strong and courageous. Don't fear and don't be dismayed. But you can get through it because the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. He's with you. He's with you. He's with you. And don't forget that he's your God, a personal God who cares and is with you in whatever you're dealing with. Well, I love you guys. Be strong and courageous. Do not fear or be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go.